Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Vacha. Aho Vayam Janma Bhrityodya Hasma. Vritta Nivritya Piviloma Jata. Doshkulyam Adhimvidunoti Sigram. Mahata Manam Abhidhana Yoga.
Hare Krishna. Sri Shuddha Goswami said, O God, although we are born in a mixed caste, we are still promoted in birthright simply by serving and following the great who are advanced in knowledge. Even by conversing with such great souls, one can, without delay, cleanse oneself of all disqualifications resulting from lower births.
Uta punagृणतो नाम तस्य माहात्म्यं नैककन्त परायणस्य योऽनन्तशक्तिर्भगवानन्त महद्गुणत्वद्यनन्तमु आहुः.
And what to speak of those who are under the direction of the great devotees, chanting the holy name of the Unlimited, who has unlimited potency, the personality of Godhead, unlimited in potency and transcendental by attributes, is called Ananta, unlimited.
एतावतालाम्नानुसूचितेन गुणैरसाम्येन तस्य यनस्य हित्वेतरान् प्रार्थयतो विभूतिर्यस्याङ्घ्रिरेणुजुषते नाभीप्स.
It is now ascertained that he, the personality of Godhead, is unlimited, and there is none equal to him. Consequently, no one can speak of him adequately. Great demigods cannot obtain the favor of the goddess of fortune, even by prayers. But this very goddess renders service unto the Lord, although he is unwilling to have such service.
Athapi yat padanakhavashritam jagad vichirinchuparitarhanabha shesham punyatanyatmo mukundat ko nama loka bhagavat padartha.
Who can be worthy of the name of the Supreme Lord but the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna? Brahmaji collected the water emanating from the nails of his feet in order to award it to Lord Shiva as a worshipful welcome. This very water, the Ganges, is purifying the whole universe, including Lord Shiva.
Yatranuragta sahashaiva dhira vyapo yadehadishu sangamudam vrajanti tat paramahamsyam antyam yasmin ahimsho pashama swadharma.
Self-controlled persons who are attached to the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, can all of a sudden give up the world of material attachment, including the gross body and subtle mind, and go away to attain the highest perfection of the renounced order of life, by which non-violence and renunciation are consequential.
Aham hi prishtorya bhavadbhir achaksha atmavagamotrayavan nabha pantyatma samam patatrinas tatha samam vishnu gatim vipaschita.
All rishis who are as powerfully pure as the sun, I shall try to describe to you the transcendental pastimes of Vishnu as far as my knowledge is concerned, As the birds fly in the sky as far as their capacity allows, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord as far as their realization allows.
एकादधानुरुद्यम्य विचरान् मृगयं वने मृगन् अनुगतश्रन्ता क्षुदितस्तृषितो भृशं जलाशयं न चक्षाना प्रविवेश तमाश्रमं तदर्श मुनिम् आशीनं सन्तमीलितलोचनम्.
Once upon a time, Maharaja Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well known Shamika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes.
प्रतिरुधेन्द्रिया प्राणा मानबुद्धिमुपारतां स्थानत्रयत्परां प्राप्तां ब्रह्मभूतमविक्रियम्.
The Muni's sense organs, breath, mind, and intelligence were all restrained from material activities, and he was situated in a trance, apart from the three wakefulness, dream, and unconsciousness, having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute.
विप्राकीर्णा च था चानां रौरवेणाग्नेन च दिशूयतालुरुद्दाकं तथा भूतमयाचत.
The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag, and long compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water.
अलब्धतृणभूम्यादिरसम्प्राप्ताज्ञसंहृता अवज्ञातां निवर्तमानं मन्यमानश्चुकोपः.
The king, not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet addresses, considered himself neglected, and so thinking, he became angry.
अभूतपूर्वसाहसा क्षुत्रिभ्यम् आदितात्मना ब्रह्मणं प्रत्यभूत् ब्रह्मन् मत्सरो मन्युरेव च.
O Brahmanas, the circumstances having distressed him with extreme hunger and thirst, the king directed toward the sage his anger and envy, which he had never before directed toward a Brahmana.
स तु ब्रह्म ऋषिरांशे गातसुम् ऊरगुमृषा विनिर्गच्छन्दनुस्कोत्य निधाय पुरम् आगता.
While leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace.
एष किं निवृत्ताशेष कारणो मीलिते क्षणा मृषसामधिराहोष्वित् किं नु स्यात् क्षत्रबन्धुः.
Upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue within himself whether the sage had actually been in meditation with senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been feigning trance just to avoid receiving a lower kshatriya.
तस्य पुत्रोऽति तेजस्वी विहरन् बालकोर्भके राज्ञां प्रापतिं ततं श्रुत्वा तद्रेदमब्रवीत्.
The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there the boy spoke as follows.
अहो अधर्मपालानां पीवनं बालीभुजम् इव स्वमिन् यागं यदाशनं द्वारपानं सुनमिव.
The Brahmana's son, Shringi, said, Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants.
ब्रह्मणे क्षत्रबन्धुर्हि गृहपालो निरूपिता साखतं तद्गृहे ध्वस्ता सबन्धं भोक्तुमर्हति.
The descendants of the kingly orders are definitely designated as watchdogs, and they must keep themselves at the door. On what grounds can dogs enter the house and claim to dine with the master on the same plate? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Diya and Vatsala. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Very nice recitation and the reading.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. So we'll be discussing verse number 32 and 33 of chapter 18, Canto 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Verse 32. Tasya Putro Pati Tejasvi Viharan Balakarbhakai Rajnagham Prapitam Tatam Shutva Tatram Shutva Tatredam Abravit Tasya Putrati Tejasvi Viharan Balakarbhakai Rajagham Prapitam Tatam Shutva Tatredam Abravit. Word for word, Tasya, his sages, Putra, son, Ati, extremely, Tejasvi, powerful, Viharan, while playing, Balakaha, with boys, Arbhakai, who were all childish, Rajna, by the king, Agham, distress, Prapitam, made to have, Tatam, the father, Shutva, by hearing, Tatra, then and there, Idam, this, Abravit, spoke. Translation number 4 by the Divine Grace H. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. The sage had a son who was very powerful. Being a Brahmana's son, while he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. Then and there, the boy spoke as follows. Purport. Due to Maharaj Parikshit's good government, even a boy of tender age who was playing with other inexperienced boys could become as powerful as a qualified Brahmana. This boy was known as Shringi, and he achieved good training in Brahmacharya by his father so that he could be as powerful as a Brahmana even at that age. But because the age of Kali was seeking an opportunity to spoil the cultural heritage of the four orders of life, the inexperienced boy gave a chance for the age of Kali to enter into the field of Vedic culture. Hatred of the lower orders of life began from this Brahmana boy under the influence of Kali, and thus cultural life began to dwindle day after day. The first victim of Brahmanical injustice was Maharaj Parikshit, and thus the protection given by the king against the onslaught of Kali was slackened. Verse 33. Aho dharma palanam pivanam bali bhujam iva swanyagam yad dasanam dwarapanam shanamiva. Aho, just look at adharma, irreligion, palana, of the rulers, pivanam, of one who is brought up, bali bhujam, like the crows, eva, like swamini, unto the master, agham, sin, yet, what is, dasanam, of the servants, dwara panam, keeping watch at the door, sunam, of the dogs, shunam, of the dogs, eva, like. Translation: the Brahmana's son Shringi said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers, who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants." Purport: the Brahmanas are considered to be the head and brains of the social body, and the Kshatriyas are considered to be the arms of the social body. The arms are required to protect the body from all harm, but the arms must act according to the direction of the head and brain. That is a natural arrangement made by the Supreme Order, for it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that four social orders or castes, namely the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, are set up according to quality and work done by them. Naturally, the son of a Brahmana has a good chance to become a Brahman by the direction of his qualified father, as a son of a medical practitioner has a very good chance to become a qualified medical practitioner. So the caste system is quite scientific. Thus, the son must take advantage of the father's qualification and thus become a Brahman or medical practitioner and not otherwise. Without being qualified, one cannot become a Brahman or medical practitioner, and that is the verdict of all scriptures and social orders. Herein, Shringi, a qualified son of a great Brahmana, attained the required Brahmanical power both by birth and by training. But he was lacking culture because he was an inexperienced boy. By the influence of Kali, the son of a Brahmana became puffed up with Brahmanical power and thus wrongly compared Maharaj Parikshit to crows and watchdogs. The king is certainly the watchdog of the state in the sense that he keeps vigilant eyes over the borders of the state for its protection and defense. But to address him as watchdog is a sign of a less cultured boy. Thus, the downfall of the Brahmanical powers began as they gave importance to birthright without culture. The downfall of the Brahmana caste began in the age of Kali. And since Brahmanas are the heads of the social order, all other orders of society also began to deteriorate. This beginning of Brahmanical deterioration was highly deplored by the father of Shringi, as we will find. Hare Krishna. Om Adhyana Thimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumantram Nena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagarana Gunatmanutam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijan Haitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakana Virta Shri Vishakanatam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sanyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Nakam Karoti Vajavam Pankham Langaite Giram Yatkapatama Vande Shri Guru Vindaram Paramanamaram Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you so much for being here this Sunday evening. We are now in this section of chapter 18 where the son of Shamikarashi Shringi is getting a little anger. Due to anger, what happens? We lose our memory and our intelligence. The sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king. It's interesting, the father's distress. Really, the father was not at all in distress, but it seemed like there were other children who saw what happened, and they went and narrated that to Shringi as to how his father had been treated unfairly. He was sitting in his meditation, and this king has garlanded his father with a dead snake. Now, this is as Prabhupada explained here, the beginning of the downfall of the Brahmanical culture or the Vedic culture. Brahmanas being the head of the society, and their head is now influenced by the Kali because of the behavior this boy has started. Because of the age of Kali, was seeking an opportunity to spoil the cultural heritage of the four orders of life. And now we can see so much chaos. First of all the orders are finished. There's no orders left. And new orders are being created, all sorts, that we're seeing how the society is actually being completely deteriorated. The Lord created the Chaturvanya Maya system, Ganakarma Vivagasham. That has been destroyed. And now we are seeing the new type of culture and the division coming up. And this division is interesting, that is not going anywhere. People are trying to figure out what should be the right division, what should be then they talk about equality, then within equality this division all sorts. So it's complete chaos in the society. Well, that's the current scenario. But Shringi, the root cause here is obviously Brahman. I'm very powerful. Yeah, by the power of my brahmacharya, I've attained enough spiritual strength and ability to curse. And Brahmanas are so powerful, they can even create a creature like that. Was never known as seen before, as we will see further as he goes on. He was trying to teach a lesson to the king. This is the influence of Kali. Everyone actually, everyone is after respect. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if someone wants to chant the name of the Lord Hari, what they should do, Trinadapi Sunishena Tarur Eva Sahi Stona Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Yeah, one should be more humble than grass and tolerant than a tree, offering all respect to others, expecting none in return. That person can chant the names of Lord Hari continuously, incessantly. So Mahaprabhu's very powerful instruction, because this expectation of respect is what really causes a lot of problems in all societies, in our society also. It's interesting, actually, in a way, it's good that we don't have any more Brahmanas of that power who can actually curse others. Otherwise, there will be lots of curses going around everywhere. It used to happen also. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we will see lots of examples. I was just remembering how many examples are like that, and the curses have happened. But those days and the curses, and the result of those curses were obviously also very different to the current society, which is almost obviously fully cursed anyway. So everyone is cursed anyway, so who can curse whom in Kali Yuga? So, but Mahaprabhu's mercy, then we are all blessed at the same time. Cursed but blessed. In the next verse, Srila Prabhupada talks about it's interesting how what he says, like crows and watchdogs. This is what happens when anger and not sufficient respect, how much I expected people to respect me. He did not respect my father. How dare he do that? And we may also be, get into this trap. I've experienced that. If we become devotees or whatever strength, not just devotee, otherwise also, wherever we think that we should have been respected and we don't get a little bit of respect, or maybe don't get a little less respect, that becomes a big cause of our anger. And then we want to curse. Or at least in today's day and time, there is no curse. So what is there? Criticism. So we start to criticize others. If I'm not given respect, then I start to criticize. Mahaprabhu says, if you don't get respect, you should not expect any respect, but you should give respect to others. But what happens really is, if we don't get respect, we have no power to curse, but we can at least criticize. By that criticism, we get obviously in difficulty, we get commit offenses, all sorts. So in today's time as devotees, I think for us, our lessons is, yes, we don't get into the cursing business, but at least we should not be criticizing if for some reasons we don't get respect that we thought we should have got. And deal with forgiveness and tolerance. That's the nature of devotee. You'll see some of the scenarios like Lord Shiva's situation. Daksha was very angry. So Daksha entered the assembly where, big yajna was going on. Daksha means expert. Daksha Prajapati. And as he enters into that ceremony, everyone is, risen from the seats to give him the respect. Lord Brahma was also there. Obviously, Lord Brahma did not stand up because he's Brahma's son. Lord Shiva, who happens to be son-in-law of Daksha. Lord Shiva is Lord Shiva. He cannot be expected to rise. And he's, always in Samadhi. It's not that he was trying to show down Daksha or anything like that. He was in his meditation. And Daksha picks up that. How dare you don't respect me? Look how much everyone respected. Everyone stood up. And he starts to blaspheme Lord Shiva left, right, and center. And then what happens is, Lord Shiva is obviously indifferent to these things. The greatest Vaishnava. He was not really bothered what all Daksha was saying. All sorts of blasphemy was going on. We're not going to detail, we'll not go. But as that was going on, Nandi is, bull, he could not tolerate that. How all this happening? They are cursing my Lord. So he starts to curse the Brahmanas. That all these Brahmanas who have been here, sitting here, hearing the criticism of Lord Shiva, they will be bereft all understanding of the Vedas. They will have no understanding. They will lose all their knowledge, all sorts of curses he was giving. They will be engaging in fruitive activities and many, many different curses. And hearing all that, then Bhrigu Rishi was also there, and he said, how can you curse Brahmanas? So he started to curse all the disciples, all the followers of Lord Shiva. Saying, you will all become atheists. You're all atheists. You will grow your hair like Lord Shiva. You will act like him, but you will all be atheists. You will never have any understanding of Vedas. So looking at all this cursing and counter cursing, Lord Shiva was very disgusted, like, what's going on here? I never intended all these things to happen. So he just walks away from the assembly. Prabhupada says in the purport, he was indifferent. Lord Shiva was very disturbed by the cursing business going on there. So he just walked away. Actually, Prabhupada says he walked away so that his own disciple Nandi can stop doing that further. And obviously, when he's not there, his disciple will also leave. Then Rigumani will also stop cursing. So just to stop that business, Lord Shiva walked away. This is the nature of a great Vaishnava. They don't engage in the cursing business. But actually, there is another story, very interesting story. I was reading through the Bhagavatam. A very similar story is Gajendra's story. So Gajendra was a king in his previous life. His king was King Indradimna. He was the king of the Dravida area. And he had a very pious life and devotional life. After he had completed his tenure of how many years as a king, he very nicely retired in the Malaya forest. Malaya is, this is the same place where Madhavendra Puri also went to get the sandalwood. Malaya, I think so. And he built his own cottage there, and he was sitting and nicely meditating. And he had taken some vows. So one fine day he was sitting there and he was in his trance and meditation. And Agastya Rishi happens to come in with his disciples. And he sees, and then this king who has now taken this order of renunciation, and he's sitting in samadhi, but not welcoming the Brahman, Agastya. Agastya also a very powerful Brahman. Very powerful in he set up the whole of the South India. There's also the how do you say invent? The star who did write the Tamil language says that Agastya. And he eventually handed over the southern India to Parshuram, Lord Parshuram. So Agastya Rishi was very, he felt that this king is in meditation, but he has no etiquette to respect, so he cursed Indradimna immediately. And he should, because he is so dull that he has no etiquette, no culture. So you have to be cursed to become a dull elephant. So that's how he became Gajendra. Even the crocodile in the story was also a king who was also cursed by Devala Rishi. As one time he was sporting in the water with all his twins, and as they were swimming around in the water, happened that Devala Rishi was also there in the same pond, and he didn't realize what he was doing. He pulled Devala Rishi's leg. He catch hold of his leg. He thought he was playing with his friends or wives, and it turned out it was that Rishi. That he immediately cursed him that he should become a crocodile. And that's the whole story. So they are also the whole that crocodile catching the leg of Gajendra. It's also the whole cursing business. So we spoke about Gajendra, Daksha, and there are one more similar story. This is like son of Brahmana was very angry. There's also a story in Bhagavatam about Devayani, who's the daughter of Shukracharya. And she was good friends with the Sarmishta, who's the daughter of a king. And they were always, playing together. So one day they were all going towards, somewhere in the garden. And as we were entering, they found a water body, and, girls, children like to, play in the water. So all the girls entered in the water and they left the clothes outside. And as they were playing, suddenly Lord Shiva comes there riding on his bull with Mother Parvati. And all the girls see that, oh, Lord Shiva is coming. So immediately they wanted to cover themselves so that, don't commit any offense to Lord Shiva. So in that self-personal, what happened is Sarmishta by mistake took on the clothes of Devyani. Now with that, Devyani was so angry. How dare you do that? She also calls Sharmishta as the crow. And the whole of this world, actually, Lord Brahma gave the material world to the Brahmanas. And Brahmanas are not interested in administration, all that. They are renounced by nature. So they gave it to the Kshatriyas for management, for administration. So she says that. Devyani starts to, say all sorts of things to Sarmishta, but Sarmishta was by nature, she was a bit fiery, daughter of a Kshatriya. So she just could not tolerate all the insult in front of all her friends. She is daughter of a king. So she actually took away the clothes and then she threw Devyani into the well. The cursing can be, or the anger of the children of Brahmana sometimes could be dangerous. Another story follows from there. So Brahmanas by nature, they can be angry sometimes, they can be cursing, but Krishna actually in one of the story, one time what happens is Sam, Krishna's son, and all the other children and the friend, they were all playing in the forest, and as they were playing around, they see there was in the well there was a lizard, large big lizard stuck inside the well and not able to come out. So they were trying with their own, whatever tools they could get, trying to get the lizard out, to save the lizard from the well, but they could not manage that. So they went and said to Krishna, this is what's happened. They just saw. So Krishna says, okay, let's see. Immediately Krishna goes there, and as soon as he gives his hand to get the lizard out, very easily he could get the lizard out with his left hand. But by the touch of Lord Krishna's, that lizard immediately becomes into a powerful personality. His name was King Nriga, NRG, Nriga. And then he starts to narrate the story that what happened was he was a king, obviously in his previous life before he was cursed. Not cursed, actually, it was a story where he was given a punishment to either choose the sins of his life, the result of his sins, or the fruits of his pious activities. So he chose to get the sins reaction first. So he got the body of a lizard. But the story goes like that he was actually a king and he was very charitable. He was always giving in charity cows to the Brahmanas. One time he gave some cows to a Brahman, and it happens that of those many cows, one cow somehow returns back to the king's, where they have the cow, that's called Goshala. Then what's right for Goshala. So the cow comes back to the same place. And king was every day he was giving in charity cows. So he has no idea what's happened. So next day another Brahman comes, and then again, king gives the cows to the Brahman. And the other Brahman now is taking all the cows to his place. Suddenly the Brahman who had originally got that cow, he could see that was his cow. He immediately goes to the Brahman and says, that's my cow, how can you take that? He says, no, this cow is my cow because it was given by the king. But the other Brahmans, no, it was given to me just yesterday. He said, no, how can it be possible? I'll just zip this cow from the king. In that, again, they go back to the king and say, this is what's happening. So king's now completely confused. What happened? How is that possible? He is given the cows in charity to this Brahman, and now this Brahman is given to this Brahman as well. How is that possible that the same cow has been given to two Brahmanas? He said, no, I've not done that. I've given to you and again to. He has no idea. They said they are both tied up in that, locked in, but the Brahman is not willing to give up. They say, no, this cow is mine. The other Brahmans, this cow is mine. You've given it to me. The king says, okay, see, I can't solve this problem. All I can do is I can give you another 100,000 cows. Please, settle this. But they were not willing to listen. They said, no, we want the same cow. So it became sinful. So Brahmana, so the king, unintentionally, he commits the sin. And then that's why when he was taken to the Yamaraj, his account was taken over by Chitrasena and said, this is what's happened. So King Lord Krishna at the time, he instructs all his, in the court actually, in the court assembly, he goes back and instructs everyone that how Brahmana's property should be very respected. Nobody should be, no king, no one should be actually even thinking of usurping a Brahmana's property. And there's quite a lot Krishna says that how difficult that could be, to the extent finally Krishna says that someone may be in the hell, Kumbhakupa hell, by that theft. So the Brahmanas are so powerful. We have seen that also. The Kapil, he also curses the sons of Sagar who were looking, somehow they looking for the horse. They reach that place where Lord Kapil was performing his austerities, and they get cursed. They all of them die, and that's how Ganga comes. So there are many such pastimes in the Bhagavatam about the situations where the curses are happening. But this curse, now coming to this, is going to be very special, because what will be brought here is something extraordinary, something for the whole of Kali Yuga after Lord Krishna has left. Bhagavatam is the place where Krishna resides now. He is on his son. So and it's also said that actually our Acharya says that now this was not possible, that Parikshit Maharaj was so much in distress because he was thirsty that he did, unless it was Lord's desire, it was not possible that would have happened. Because straight after this curse, as soon as King Parikshit Maharaj got to know about this, that he has been cursed, his reaction was obviously naturally very different to what we have been discussing so far. His reaction was immediately, renounced. He took it as Lord's desire. This is the nature of a devotee. Even if anything happens which is undesirable, I think that's Lord's desire. This is how the Lord wants me to be in this situation. So this is best. This is perfect. So the same King Parikshit, who was actually out of thirst, he put this dead snake as a garland to this rishi. Immediately after that, he becomes, he goes on to the bank of Ganga, and he's going to fast until death, and he's obviously met by Shukra Goswami. And for 7 days, he's not drinking or any water or eating anything. So he's completely staying without water immediately after that. So how is that possible? Our acharyas say that this is the confirmation that the king was not really out of his sense control. He had good control over his senses, very good control. Otherwise, how is it possible for him to stay without water and food for 7 days a night in hearing? So this is the special arrangement of the Lord by this is the thing our Lord can do. This so many things are achieved in one action. By this action, how many things have happened? Like this boy has curse, which is unless there's a downfall of the Brahmanical culture, the Kali Yuga cannot come in, and the Kali Yuga cannot come in means without the Kali Yuga coming in, the Bhagavatam is coming in the same time. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also once in a lifetime of Brahma also comes. So this is a special arrangement for all of us who decides to be here for a long time. The Prabhupada goes on the orders of social life, social order. We discussed this. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. This all are created by the Lord himself. but all mixed up today. Naturally, the son of a Brahmana has a good chance to become a Brahman by the direction of his qualified father. As a son of a medical practitioner, has a very good chance to become a qualified medical practitioner. Yeah, this is the so what is the qualification? There are two types of qualification. One is a qualification by birth. Another qualification is by the initiation, or by what we call Savitri. So the son must take advantage of father's qualification to become a Brahmana, and now without being qualified, one cannot become a Brahmana or medical practitioner. That is the verdict of all scriptures and social orders. Here in the Shringi, a qualified son of a great Brahmana attained the required Brahmanical power both by birth and by training. This is what I was looking for, training. The birth and training both is required. Without training, only by birth, one cannot become Brahman. So both qualifications are required. But he was lacking in culture. So even though he was trained, because he was still a child, Prabhupada, he was still an inexperienced boy. So that culture was lacking. And I was touching on this point before this, how do we apply this in our life, is developing that culture of not finding fault in others, in other devotees, or anyone. Actually, Mahaprabhu says, one thing he does not like is finding fault, which is the most difficult vow. Many devotees actually have also tried to take a vow during Kartik to not criticize anyone. It's interesting. It's a very interesting vow, because the mind works like that. It's very immediately find fault. So that is the culture that is the Vaishnava culture. Vaishnava is one who will first of all always forgive. It is something I say many times. I've heard, it was very interesting. So Vaishnava forgives even before the offense is committed. Yeah, here it was no really, Prabhupada says, and although a lot of people say different things, but it was hardly any offense. Was a dead snake is put on by Parikshit, even if we don't bring in the aspect of Krishna's desire. It was not that serious, which required to be so harsh or so strongly reacted by the Brahman. So this culture, this understanding of forgiveness and tolerance, this is the quality of a Vaishnava. This is the greatest quality of Vaishnava. So when Srivas Thakur, when he was at his house, Lord Chaitanya would have all his pastimes, and they would have the Lord would dance, and they will have kirtan all night. But the neighbors were not, they were actually envious of Shiva's, that Lord is dancing in the house, and somehow they never liked this. They were envious types. So what they did was they actually put some now this Durga Puja going on. So they put lots of whatever the worship paraphernalia of Durga outside his house. And then they were just telling everyone, look, he acts like a Vaishnava, but actually all night this is what they're doing. They're worshipping inside, and we don't know what sort of worshiping is going on. And Shiva was completely, he was indifferent to that blame or whatever the neighbor Gopal Chapal was trying to do. Completely indifferent. He was tolerant, and he was actually happy dancing. Yes, now actually I'm not a Vaishnava. Yeah, I'm just a Kali Puja. I'm just a worshipper of Kali. So this was the nature of Vaishnava. There are many stories in the Chaitanya Charitamrita like this, because the culture, Vaishnava culture is, how do we learn that culture is purely from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the beautiful scripture that we have been given, and all the dealings of the Vaishnavas in that Chaitanya Charitamrita is something that gives us the understanding of what Vaishnava culture is really. This is very important. By the influence of by the influence of Kali, the son of Brahmana became puffed up with Brahmanical power and thus wrongly compared Parikshit to Kuru and Vaishnava. So yes, by definition, king is certainly the watchdog. They are the arms and of the social order. So they are to protect others from harm. They have the shastra and they have the strength to protect. Yes, so they are the watchdog in the right way. But to Prabhupada said to address him like that was actually a sign of a less cultured word. So Prabhupada again said, the main point here is culture, development of culture. So that is really truly missing in today's time. It's shocking when we see that how the time is changing. Actually, in our time, we could never say the name of our teacher. We have to always call them sir or ma'am or whatever. Today, children call their teacher by name, and not only the teacher, even the people of much higher age, they will also call them by name. In India, there's a culture. I mean, it's slightly different. Everyone is uncle or auntie there. So, but there is that respect. So, we will not be called by name. There's so many aspects of the culture. So, the downfall of Brahminical powers, we are seeing that. So that's why even today, I don't know how much is that happening at the moment. Brahmanicals are they still proud of their birth or not? This more and more is falling. Actually, another type of social order is coming, which is, everyone is proud of something. So if not by birth, some other type of pride is coming. So downfall of Brahmana caste began in the age of Kali. So times we'll have kirtan, a bhajan in 3 minutes time. So we discussed about the situation here. The Brahmana's son is getting angry. He's starting to use very insulting words, building up the beginning of the anger. And we start to say very inappropriate words. This is the outcome, because we lose our memory, our intelligence of choosing of the right word. We respond. There's the two ways, like react and respond. Response is after processing the event or the situation, we think about it and respond appropriately after evaluating both sides of the situation with some tolerance, with some forgiveness, with some acceptance. But reaction is like there's no brain. User, the memory is lost immediately. We just fire back. And Prabhupada says one last thing I'll say, in a very important aspect of how the greatness of someone can be estimated. Greatness of someone can be estimated by their ability to tolerate provoking situation. He says somewhere in Bhagavad Gita, I think so. The greatness of someone can be estimated by their ability to tolerate the provocating situation. There was a little provocation by his friends. This is what's happened to his father. He was so proud of himself, of his father, that he immediately says the curse. So we can stop now the message here. Bhajan is 8:40. Okay, thank you very much. So we discussed so many vastas. As we move on in this beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam, glorious Srimad Bhagavatam, we'll have so many of these amazing passions, how devotees respond. We have also discussed many times Ambarish Maharaj's response to the anger of the Durvasa. So, and even Chitraketu Maharaj's response to the curse by Mother Parvati. There's so many beautiful stories where Vaishnavas' response to the provocating situation is so different, so tolerant, and so accepting and forgiving. Okay, we can go to the bhajan now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Tonight we have two sisters, dear Nakshi and Pavani, who will be singing a very nice bhajan, Jai Radha Madhava. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, Inakshi, when you're ready, please start with the. Are you reading the translation, Inakshi?
Okay.
Thank you.
Translation. Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Raja and the holder of the great hill named Govardhan. He is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the delighter of the inhabitants of Raja, and he wanders in the forests along the banks of the river Yamuna.
Thank you, Inakshi. So, when you're ready, you can sing the bhajan now. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna. Beautiful singing. Thank you so much, Inakshi and Pavani. Hare Krishna.
Well
Amazing.
done. Beautiful.
Both always amazing, reciting Sanskrit verses and singing bhajans. So amazing. Thank you so much.
Well done.
I did not pay attention. Maybe they could have sang this before we start the class. That's nice. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Shyam Hari Prabhu. Just one question.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Yes.
Shringi, how old was he when he cursed Parikit Maharaj?
Oh,
You know?
he's a boy. I don't know. Maybe four. I might be guessing. I don't want to guess. I can check. I don't know. Prabhupada says a
Must be
boy.
7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah,
He was 7
sure.
years old.
Boy
Prabhuji,
means
7
yeah,
years
has
old.
to be in the
7 years.
He was
Sorry?
7 years old. 7.
7 years old. Yes, Indulekha Mata. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking of children of nowadays, 7 years old. Would they be able to speak like that? Because I know
No.
Yeah,
because
but
of the age.
the culture was, Mataji, the culture was different. Nowadays, our culture is far more advanced. Children at this age will swear at you for sure, right? And will know about many things that at that time children didn't know. And about this cursing, Prabhuji, I was just thinking, we know so many people have been cursed. Like in my class earlier on, I was giving Bhagavad Gita class. I was telling about Bhishmadev. He was cursed. He was cursed by Kapiladev as a, they were the 8 Vasus. So he was cursed. And what happened is, all these curses, even the son of Kuvera, Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, they were cursed. Bhishmadev were cursed, and so many were cursed. And what happened? They attained the Lord. And Bhishmadev stayed for 426 or 36 years in this material world because he was the one orchestrating this all the thing against the sage. But he got association of Krishna. And the 2 trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, they got association of Krishna. They got delivered by Krishna. So if we see all the curses, even Parikshit Maharaj, the Lord had to take him back home. So he orchestrated something. And also you were talking about someone else, Indradamya Maharaj, who became Gajendra. He also, because it was time for the Lord to take him away. That's why the Lord had to do something, plan something. And so it's the curse in between. So every single one who has been cursed, if we look closely, we will see that each and every one who has been cursed, it was a kind of a blessing in disguise for them. It was a curse, yes. We feel bad when somebody is cursing, but then see the end result of the curse. Doesn't matter how long it takes, but they are blessed, right?
Yes, absolutely. Very good
Hare
point.
Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Even the curses of the great sages, it's like a boon eventually. It's so amazing. Yes.
Yeah, we see in the scripture, there's so many curses. Like, I mean, when it happened, when Lord Shiva was, insulted and all these things, they were not even in the beginning of Kali Yuga, they were much longer. So all the curses in the scripture, they have a purpose for else to happen.
Yes, Mataji. In the case of Lord Shiva, what happened is Sati has committed so many offenses toward Lord Shiva. It's a very beautiful katha. She disguised as Mother Sita. She went in front of Lord Ram because Lord Ram was looking for Mother Sita in the forest. So she wanted to test Lord Ram. So Lord Shiva said that is too much because she had done so many things like not believing in Shiva's guru, who Shiva went to. What is her name now? Kumbhaj Rishi. They went to hear about Katha there, and she fell asleep, and she didn't accept that Kumbhaj Rishi was an elevated soul. She said, what kind of Rishi that he's praying to my husband instead of being on the asana? So all these things, Sati has done lots of sins, committed lots of sins. So Sati had to leave her body. So all these were done so that when Daksha did another yagna, Sati would go there and self-immolate in the fire. And then Sati will go and then she'll come back as Parvati. But Lord Shiva had already discarded her in a way because Lord Shiva thought that Lord Ram and Mother Sita are like my mother and my father. So if Sati has disguised as my mother, how can I have a relation with her? So she went into Samadhi. And she just she says, no, I cannot accept Sati. That's right. All this happens. And in further episode, we will see how Sati went to Daksha when Daksha was doing a yagna and did not goodbye for Shiva. And there Sati got very angry and she self-immolated herself. She burned herself. So everything that we see in the Bhagavatam, if we really do some search, we will see why it's happening. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm taking the time.
Very nice. No, very nice. I didn't know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Indulaka Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's amazing. Yes. How devotees process a curse. Like Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, but his response to the curse was so amazing. So amazing, accepting that as Lord's desire. He just accepted it. And what was the outcome of that? That's amazing. Thank you so much. Hopefully, but for us, I think we're not in the point I was making before is our curse is not the same. Our criticism should not be there. We can't curse, but we have to avoid criticism. That's how I process this whole episode. That how can we, improve our own devotional life is by avoiding that situation. So we can stay in the association of devotees, stay blessed. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Any other point or comments or questions? Okay. Thank you so much, devotees. Have a great Krishna conscious week ahead. And we shall meet again sometimes. Hare Krishna.
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Prabhuji, for very nice
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Hare Krishna.